some folks here.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you guys today? I'd like to welcome you again to AutoWorkz Insights. I'm so excited because this subject is near and dear to my heart. While we are going through all of this crises, I've been attending a lot of seminars and virtual workshops with the automotive industry. And the one thing that has come up in every session has been innovation. So I thought, we talk about it as it relates to a company, but we never really talk about Innovate as a person. And I ran across a quote by Seth Godin that says, people, not companies, innovate. And that's true. Even when you have innovation at a company, it's a person who normally leads it up or a group of people who head it up, and then they move it forward. So this discussion is we're going to talk about innovation. Well, one of the things that I was looking for was, where do I find a person who's in innovation and who's in an African American? And I'm gonna tell you, there are not that many African Americans in the innovation space, ironically. So I hunt left and right, and then I thought, oh, I don't know how I forgot this person, because this is my favorite saxophone player, right? Just to show you how small the world is. I would go to Motor City Wine every Friday, and this guy would be playing his mean sax. Now, I'm not really a Motor City Wine enthusiast. I was a Jeff Ponders enthusiast, right? Because he played this sax and it relaxed me and got me all excited on Fridays. So I said, oh, I know a great innovation specialist. And here he is, Jeff Ponders. Jeff has spent a lot of time in the marketing agents in the innovation space the last 15 years and is very, very creative. He always lands on his feet, whatever he does. And I don't know how he does that, but he's going to tell us in a few minutes. Even when things may not go his way, he always improves himself. He's better at it. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you guys Jeff Ponders II, our innovation guru for today.
Cool. Thank you, Ida. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Let me tell you what, so I'm a dog person more than a cat person, but landing on my feet is certainly the thing that always happens. I think we all, in real life, I think most of us do. Just that I believe very firmly that if we're still here, there's still, like, the future is still ahead of us. And so it's never over until it's over. But thank you. I'm really happy to be here. Looking forward to this conversation. As Ida mentioned, I've navigated multiple spaces. I call it often my Batman life, where by day I've worked in advertising, and really more than that, just really helping brands and entrepreneurs figure out how to tell their stories better, how to build smarter products, particularly products that people actually like. And on the marketing side, how to help companies not do evil things to consumers, at least not look like it in public. And then at night, instead of putting on a cape, I'm a saxophonist and songwriter, and I make music in a lot of different idioms and a lot of different rooms. So I played and toured with artists from jazz and R&B and hip hop and gospel. And it's been a really, really good run. And I'm an artist in my own right, and have a record and a couple more coming out right now. Well, not right now, but soon enough. So I've been navigating these spaces, feels like my entire life, figuring out how to build brands and how to tell creative stories with music and words. So yeah, that's where it is. And now it's funny you mentioned not a lot of African Americans in particular innovation. Is absolutely true. There are a handful out there that are amazing, really smart folks, sharp. But it's funny to find space of innovation. It's while half of it's like the wild west, because you have no idea what it is, like saying I'm a consultant and nobody knows what you actually do. There's this other part where people think about innovation, they think about really hard technologies and engineering. They look at innovation as, we did this new thing, and I like to think about innovation as very, very simply, how can I solve problems in a better way? That's really it. All innovation is it's incremental improvements. So as a jazz musician, we live in this space of, how do I take this moment here and make it better? And so to me, it's literally the spirit of innovation. And so I've carried that with me, not just in the bandstand, but also in boardrooms across the country.
That's interesting you say that, because I found a quote from Thomas Edison said, there is a better way to do everything. Find it.
Yes, that's it.
I was like, wow, so profound, right? And there is a better way to do everything. The question is the world ready for it or not? Sometimes they're not, but it's always good to be ahead of the curve. And so one of the reasons why I wanted you to be here today, because I wanted people to kind of think about, how do I get ahead of the curve? Because that's where a lot of money is made, if you are in front of that curve. If you're talking to a customer, how do you advise them to place themselves in front of the curve?
Very carefully. So you think about it, like it's there's in front of the curve, and then there's, oh, that dude is crazy.
Okay.
And there can be a very fine line or a huge gap between the two.
Okay.
An example, Elon Musk is somebody who most folks would define as innovative.
He's crazy.
But he's also crazy. Like, there's a lot of folks who say Elon Musk is crazy. And it's, in real life, it's not that crazy to think, hey, can we have cars that don't run on fossil fuels? Not crazy. Can we think about having a Hyperloop so that those cars can continue to run? Not crazy. Now let me put that Hyperloop underground. All right, maybe a little, maybe not, but it's, we don't know where things are going. Or even the idea of, I want to enable space travel because I believe that we're going to need to be able to operate in space. A lot of folks are going to call it crazy, but there's going to come a time that, if population continues to grow and the planet continues to suffer, if we're trying to survive as a species, we got to figure out where we're going to go. And so what has seemed crazy won't seem so crazy. But that being the case, also not very profitable to be that far ahead of the curve, unless you have an R&D budget that can allow you to do that. So when I talk to folks, I don't talk to them as often about how to be further ahead of the curve. I really look at the idea of innovation as, all right, here's what's happening. And if, the Thomas Edison quote you gave is awesome. I'm going to steal that and use it myself with some folks. But the idea that there's always a better way. And so whether somebody is trying to figure out the right idea to bring to market, or they're in market and they're struggling with, how do I sell to more people, or how do I get my people to buy more frequently, or man, this thing keeps breaking. It's this idea of taking on the mindset of always pushing for better. In fact, my company is called The Better Company because we believe that there's no such thing as best, or perfection for that matter. Like, the idea of perfection is one of the scariest ideas in the world to me, because once it's perfect, there's nowhere else to go but down.
That's true.
So the constant push for better. So when I consult with companies and my customers and clients, it's, all right, this is what you're doing, and that if it's going well, great, this is good. Now, in the spirit of innovation, where are people headed? Like, if you the interaction that, so for the folks who are here in the room, the virtual room, those of you who are entrepreneurs, you're doing something, you're providing a service and a value to somebody else. And whatever it is that you're doing for them, after they paid for it and they've received the goods or service, it's not the end. Like, as long as they're still breathing and you're still breathing, it's really just a point in time. And so you've got to be looking. So I've created this moment with you. We've exchanged value. You're happy. I'm happy. What's the next moment? What's the next opportunity for me to service you? So I challenge my clients to, more than anything, to understand their customers better than anybody else, to constantly be refining their knowledge of their customer. Because the more people know what consumers in particular are looking for, and again, keyword is what they're looking for, not just what they need, but what they want. That means I can start to position myself ahead of their desires. So when they say, oh, wow, I think my body is hungry. I'm hungry. I think I want to eat. What would I like to eat? Wow, shrimp sounds really good. You're already ahead of the idea. They're going to be looking for shrimp. And so when they look for shrimp, they're going to find you because you were there waiting on them, literally, because you planned ahead. You understood what was possible and prepared for that. So that was a lot of words, but it's ultimately, it's
what you're saying
know your customer.
Is that there's a fine line between crazy and genius, but
yep.
to know your customer and be ahead of what they need is where you position people to be. That's good. Absolutely, because I've been known to be crazy. I've been known to be crazy, but I have to.
You're a little crazy. You're a little crazy, but I am too. So.
But I'm gonna tell you how crazy it was. I have been on this whole thing about virtual learning about 15 years or so, because I had a school in 2006. And the minute this pandemic hit, I reached out to every major leader I knew and says, the time is right now, let's roll, right? You know, because I'm trying to get another contract, of course. And I had to laugh because someone said, man, you've been at this for 15 years and now the whole world has gone virtual.
And you said, see, you should have been rocking me 15 years ago, but today is today. Let's do it now.
That's exactly what I said. And then handed them a budget of what I wanted to do, right? So tell me, how do you package your idea? How do you educate somebody to package an idea that they need it when they haven't decided they needed it?
Man, so I'm gonna give you a story. This is like my favorite entrepreneurial story. So I tell folks that, religion aside, entrepreneurship is the greatest faith walk you can have. You can't not have faith and be an entrepreneur, because no matter what you're doing, you are doing something with the hope that somebody's going to respond to it, right? Like, you can have the perfect product at the perfect price point in exactly the right place for exactly the right person, and they can still choose not to buy your stuff. So can we play a game real quick?
Sure.
Cool. All right. So I can see some of the names. All right. So I got Jackie, Bethany, Tina, Jeremiah, Shaniqua, and Cliff. And I don't know who Wardell is, but I'm assuming it's a Wardell, because it makes sense to me. All right. So Ida and I, we're in the desert, and Jackie came from outer space, because she's out of space right now, came from outer space, and Jackie is a millionaire. Jackie has a plane. The only way we're gonna live is if we get on Jackie's plane. So we're all walking together. I've got water. Ida's got water. Jackie, her canteen doesn't have anything in it. We get to the point Jackie's struggling, and Jackie's like, I think I got about 4 more steps, and I'm not gonna make it. Now we want to live. We want to make it out of this thing. So Ida, because Ida's a capitalist, says, hey, when we get to this plane, if you give me $2 million, I'll give you my canteen of water. Jackie says, nope, and takes a step. So she's now got 3 steps left. So I'm like, Ida, come on, man. We're being too aggressive now. So I say, listen, Jackie, forget Ida and her trying to take your money. Give me a high five, and you can take all my water. Like, I'll rough it out. She said, nah. And she takes another step. Now we're down to 2. And so Ida not sweating right now. 1, because we're in the desert, but 2, because like, if she takes 2 more steps, we are all done. So I say, look, Jackie, all you got to do is blink. Just blink. And the water's yours. Because at this point, we're on survival mode. I don't care about this water. I didn't need to get on this plane. And Jackie said, this is what she does. She looks at me and she says, I'm not going to blink. And she just stares at us. Indignant, like, exact, just like that. And we're like, and she takes another step. So we got 1 more step before we're all done. And we're like, Jackie, what do you want? She says, I don't want water. I want lemonade. So I and I look at each other because we can't hit her. We can't, like, we need her alive to get on this plane. And we're mad. So we said, and so the moral of the story here is that it doesn't matter if they need it. People do what they want. And so we've got to find ways to understand what our customers want, not what we think they need, but what they actually want to do, because that's the thing that they're going to respond to. We can all think about a bunch of things that we know we need to do right now, but we're going to do what we want to do because it makes us happier, makes us feel good, makes us happy. It's just what we prefer. And so the idea how to package something that somebody needs, I package what they need inside of something they want. Because if they don't want it, I don't care how much you need it, you're not going to do it. Jackie was willing to let us die. She was willing to die and let us die just because she didn't want water as much. She literally needed it to live and was willing to die. The only thing that we'll actually do when we need to survive is if we're drowning, in that case, our body will flail to try to find a way to get to air. Other than that, we'll kill ourselves and not do what we actually need to do. So package what they need inside of what they want, which again goes back to, can I understand what they want? Can I understand my customer well enough to know what they want? And then inside of that, I'm gonna give them what they need so that they become really hooked to it. It sounds so evil, but if I give them what they need inside of what they want, they'll become hooked and they won't leave me ever. Ida, you are muted. We can see you though.
Yeah, I'm talking without muting. So that sounds kind of profound. You put it in something that they need. But sometimes do they know what they need? Like I look at Amazon, when it first started, it was electronic books. And people say, oh, they would never last. Well, not only did they last, they're just grinding everything to a pulp, right? Mm-hmm. So how did people decide that they needed it? They went from being a physical book and then all of a sudden they're buying them online.
So here's how Amazon did this. So Amazon said, we bet. So at that, because when Amazon launched, bookstores were the thing, right? We had Barnes and Noble, we had Borders, we had like bookstores were really a destination. It was more than just a place to go buy books. You went and hung out there. Amazon said this internet's a thing. I believe that people will be willing to pay for a book and have it shipped to them online. Convenient, right? And so they did a test, similar to what Zappos did the same things, diapers.com did the same thing. And they set up a site and validated that people were willing to do it. And they said, okay, let's do more of it. Now, so if we look at Amazon and Jeff Bezos as, you know, akin to Elon Musk, they said, if we can do this, we can sell anything. We're gonna be able to sell everything ever online. And so they started with books and they slowly expanded from there. It wasn't, so the idea of buying books wasn't about need though. It was still about, it was about a desire, because you don't have to ever, like, people don't have to buy a book. When I want a book, I go buy the book that I want, unless I'm, you know, it's a class or something. And they didn't launch with classroom books. They launched with just books in general. So it was still desire based. And what they said, they saw an opportunity to offer a different type of service, whereas the bookstore was a destination. It's fun. It's cool. It's not quite the library. They said, well, some people just want the convenience of having a book shipped to them and delivered to them wherever they may be. And so they started to win on this idea of convenience. And so the spirit of convenience is what, when you look at it, is really what drives Amazon. Amazon sells convenience. That's true. You know, they go from I'm selling books to online books, and then shoes and toys, and everything they sell you can get from somewhere else. In many cases, cheaper, with higher level of service. But what Amazon ultimately sells is have it shipped wherever you want it, or, you know, eventually it got to a point of offering a cheaper service, or hey, convenience of, instead of waiting a week for, you know, to receive a good that you might order from somewhere else that takes you, you know, takes a week, we're gonna give you free 2-day shipping. Again, convenience. Or hey, I've got a single store. I've got literally the ultimate superstore. You can go on Amazon and buy clothes, books, food, services. Like, you can't buy a house, you can't buy a car yet. That's pretty much it. Other than that,
you buy all of your business supplies, because they have a whole business website just for businesses.
Just for business. So I can literally go on Amazon and shop for everything I need and not have to walk up and down aisles. Again, the product there is you're buying the convenience of having a single stop to do all your shopping.
But here's the part that's funny. People go, oh, that's such a new idea, but really it's not. You know who made the idea happen? And it's amazing that it grinded them to a pulp, was Sears.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, Sears, you can talk about Sears, you can talk about Marshalls. I mean, the original convenience store is the original Amazon. Get all your things in one place. It's convenience. The difference is Amazon found a way to do it at scale. And then what also made Amazon really fresh is they said, we don't have to be the store for everything. Like, we don't have to be the one carrying everything. We can empower other sellers to sell their goods through us. So now we go from being a seller to being a platform for sellers. And so just, you know, it's magical and evil. But it's also evil because they also say, hey, we watch the analytics and things that sell well, Amazon releases as private label brands for themselves. I don't know if you guys knew, Amazon is the #1 battery seller in the world. Amazon doesn't make batteries.
I didn't know that. But I'm going to tell you what I do know. I've been watching Amazon and Walmart duke it out. I mean, they're battling it out. You serve Walmart for some time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Tell me what made them decide that they're going to actually compete with Amazon, because they have this store network all over the world.
Yeah. So what Walmart did, Walmart being the world's largest retailer, well, physical retailer, the numbers are scary when you look at how Amazon has grown. And with Amazon's growth, Amazon didn't say we're going to grow and be super profitable. They just said the goal was, I just want all the transactions. And so Amazon was willing to be a loss leader and to not worry about margin. They had enough money and enough cash flow going through the business to be able to service debt and through going public and such, that it was like, hey, that's cool. You can go ahead, Walmart and Target and Meijer and Macy's and all the other retailers, go ahead and make money. That's cool. Because eventually we're going to have all the transactions and then we'll make all the money. And then beyond that, they make money on the data stuff anyway. Like Amazon makes more money on data than they do on any transactions. So with Walmart, they say, oh, cuss word or three. Amazon is for real. And it's not so much about we have to compete with Amazon. It's Walmart's position was we have to protect our dominance, one. And then in recognizing, and so again, watching consumer behavior, as people were moving out of, as people were flocking more toward the convenience of I can shop from home or from anywhere else. Because it's not just home anymore. It's, I'm using my phone for a camera, but it's, I can shop anywhere in the palm of my hand. I want something, I'll go buy it. And I'm sure many of us have a problem with hitting that single click option on Amazon. It's evil. So Walmart says, oh man, we have to protect our market share. Like we have to fight for our life, because if we don't, this is just so easy. People will continue to do it. So Walmart decided to. So obviously everybody went online to sell. Cool. Then it became if convenience is the ultimate currency, how do I make it more convenient to purchase? So Walmart says we have a larger physical footprint than Amazon does. Amazon bought their way into physical footprints, but Walmart, we have a network already established. So how can we connect the dots between e-commerce and brick and mortar? Okay, buy online, pick up in store.
And I love that.
Yeah, and it's a way to be able to compete. But then Amazon says, oh, that's cool. We'll do same day shipping. Or, we've got lockers set up. So go and your package is already secure in a locker. You go in and check in and you can walk away with the stuff. So the battle is there. Walmart basically said, if we don't, we'll die.
Mm-hmm. So how do we as a person or a small business take on some of those lessons that we're watching you guys do? Yep.
So first things first, it's understanding what the market is doing, which again goes back to the number one thing I tell people: know your customer. What does your customer want? And you can look at what they tell you they want, and you can look at their behavior so you can understand what they want. It's funny. I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we think growth is always our North Star. Like, how can I do more? How can I do more? How can I make more? In a lot of cases, I think a lot of what we need to do is think about how can I serve more? How can I serve better? So one quick sidebar, don't be surprised if out of this corner, a little kid comes running down at some point in the next 20 minutes, because they do that with all of my meetings, all of them. But my oldest son, he's 5 years old, and every morning we do an affirmation, and I say, how do you make money? He says, you help people. I said, how do you make more money? Help more people. If you help people, are you guaranteed to make money? No. But will you make money if you don't help people? No. So what should you always do? Help people. And so we drill this idea of service as the anchor of entrepreneurship and value creation. And so when you look at what the story we just told about Amazon, with Walmart, everything that's happened with them is rooted in service. So as we look forward to how do we future-proof our companies, it's how we serve better and smarter. And you understand that by, again, understanding the customer that you serve, what their needs are that are directly in the sweet spot of what you do. Understanding if they don't come to you, who are they going to go to? Or if they come to you sometime, they go to somebody else. Some other time, why do they go there? Like, what's the draw there? And how can you serve better than the other company can serve? In some cases, not how can you serve better, it's how can I be a better complement to what they're doing? So I focus a lot on that type of thinking. Beyond that, you also look at the trends of technology and society. Mm-hmm. So example, Ida's been 15 years on this idea of virtual learning and virtual meetings. if everything's going online, let's assume that everything is going online. So how do we in turn? I think somebody got me echo. How do we in turn just you can almost play a marriage game. It's almost like combine a bear with the tiger. What happens if I put my service with the trend of people doing everything online? What does that now look like? And just play an ideation game around it. Odds are somebody's probably already doing it anyway. And that's just one, like being online is just one trend that's not even a trend. It is and has been for a long time. You may say, all right, people are afraid to be human and afraid to touch each other. What does it look like to be in a touchless society now? And what implications does that have on my service? Or, for example, as an entertainer, everything is shut down in terms of live performance. And so you say, okay, but people still need, like, as much as we value recorded music, we love our favorite songs, there's something magical about seeing somebody on stage. And in particular, being able to see it, reach out and almost touch them and see the creation of that thing in real life. But now, when we come out of this, expectation is that those audiences are going to be cut in half. Like we're not going to see large events probably till somewhere in the middle end of next year. So what does it look like now as an artist to still want to be able to create both art and experiences in real time for people?
It's funny you should say that because I've been visiting Club Quarantine by this DJ D Nice every week, right? And I'm not really a music person, but I do like going to live performances. So I was like, I need to go to a club. And so somebody sent me a link, says go to Club Quarantine. Right. Well, I'm there with my nearest, dearest 16,000 people.
Right.
But never put in a room to see a DJ because there's not that much room.
Right. And so now you can look at what's happening now with virtual events, whether parties, meetups, webinars, or chats like this. And it's cool, but there's a whole different thing when you don't have the immersive experience that we would otherwise have. Example, like right now, it's like if you guys have been going to Zoom and Zoom meetings and GoToMeeting webinars and Skype sessions, it's cool, but how easy is it to be distracted by all the other things happening that are immediately around you? Mm-hmm. And so while you're able to do more because you have to travel less, you lose on some of the elements of some of the benefits that come from being able to be in a focused environment. That's or true. Just being able to reach over and tap somebody on the shoulder and say, hey, did you hear that? Or mention or throw something out there and somebody can give you some direct feedback. It's a different kind of thing. Is it better or worse? Neither. It's what we make it. But if we say this is where things aren't going to be for the foreseeable future, it's one thing to say we're going to start seeing virtual environments like Club Quarantine, but how do I also create the connectivity that comes from actually being in space with people? Mm-hmm. Because the value of that's also really, really valuable. So
now I know you're pro Detroit. What advice would you have for Detroiters with all the activity that's going on? I mean, there's a lot of things happening in Detroit. It's kind of popping, although now we're the hot spot.
It's been popped.
Right. We've gotten popped because of COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah.
What do you see happening now that as we start to come out of this crisis?
So I think every crisis creates a bed of opportunity. Mm-hmm. So my expectation is people are going to lose their minds when they go outside again and can gather. So we're going to see a little bit of roller coaster effect. I'm curious to see. Actually, let me take a step back. So let me speak specifically to so there's a lot of different Detroits. Mm-hmm. And so each of those Detroits has a unique market and a unique opportunity. So we've got, I'm going to call it, I hate to call it old Detroit, but we have Detroiters who are over 40.
Okay.
So we got Detroiters who are over 40. Let's go over 50. Let's go over 50 first. So you're over 50, okay. Got a little bit more sense than all the rest of us. And will be a bit more cautious with how they manage coming out and what they do. There's a whole suite of services with them that are going to be about how can I reconnect with people while staying safe. I want to be able to have fun and feel comfortable and confident that I'm not going to go home and not come back out again.
Right.
And so it's a whole, so you think about all the things that go into life, whether it's housing, food, cooking, and restaurants, going out, movies, the whole deal. There's a whole set of like, how do I support life with people who are going to be more apprehensive about doing life with the rest of us?
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a population like that. And it's not just 50 and over. It's going to be parents with small kids, or people who may people who manage people in extreme age ranges, or people who just may be more naturally fearful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one group. I'm going to have a group that is, I'm going to call it 18 to 25. If anybody's 18 to 25 on here, great. They're the young and dumb. Not you, though. If it's you, it's not you. But all the rest of them, the young and dumb. And so they're going to come out here and say, I don't care what anybody says. I'm out. Yeah. And so there's going to be a whole ecosystem around how they manage their how they manage their lives, how they find things, what they do if they start feeling sick, like this, how they're moving in and out of society. You got this huge group in the middle of, all right, I see the cautious over here, and I get it. Man, I rock with you. I support you. I see the young and dumb over here, and like, nah, y'all stay over there. And I want to be able to move in and out of culture. And I want to have experiences again, but I want to be able to go retreat if I need to. Okay. And so I think there's a lot of that. And I think, so like this, some of the conversations happening at the city, like they're thinking about how to support people, particularly that one group, the group in the middle and the more cautious group. The more cautious group, not as worried about that they'll help with, flattening the curve. But this other group, they want to find ways to support them and support their livelihoods, as well as support their ability to enjoy themselves. And so we're going to start seeing civic services that encourage activities that fall within that larger middle of the road group.
It's funny you should say that, because they decided that they're going to offer testing for those that are 60 and above for free. So that you're kind of starting to see how they're breaking the groups off. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you see opportunity, how those are broken up?
Man. So it's interesting and tough, because as much as we've been seeing growth in Detroit, obviously like this recession is it's practically here. Actually, let me take a step back. Let's have fun with this. So you got a bunch of folks who got unemployment and stimulus packages, right? And they have nowhere to go to spend their money.
They're going to Amazon and Walmart.
They're going to Amazon. They're going to Amazon. They're going to Amazon. So as much as we have a recession that's coming, there's also an influx of cash that's in the marketplace too. Okay. And so while most of that cash is going to be gone real fast, either through online shopping that's already happened or will happen over the next 2 months or so, folks who can quickly identify, who can speculate and or speculate on what people are going to want to do, or what coming out of it, or can I quickly identify what people are willing to spend money on now? It sounds so evil. Can take that money and make sure that Amazon doesn't get it, at least, because it's going somewhere.
And but the thing is that makes sense, because I'm gonna tell you what I've been saying to people, and I'm 53, so I've lived through a few recessions. This is the first time I've lived through a recession where people actually got a stimulus, number one, and a lump sum. But to see how they pay unemployment at this extra $600 a week,
man,
I've never seen that.
That is crazy. People are making so much more money now than they were before this.
They are.
So a couple of things. I was talking to a buddy of mine a couple of days ago, and we're talking about, if you have money and you're an investor, this is the time to go buy businesses. Actually, not right now. Actually, right now is not bad. Because there are folks who are like, I don't see how I'm going to come out of this. Yeah. But give it about 3 to 6 months, and people are still slow to get out. There are going to be a ton of businesses that have great assets and great systems in place that if you can ride out, will be okay. Particularly if you know how to innovate, will be fantastic. There's going to be a lot of real estate in the market too. So I think those things in particular for Detroit are going to be a big deal. Now, Vision and Capital are going to take advantage of it. Example, I'm encouraging folks who've gotten this stimulus money outside of the PPP, like PPP, pay yourself or pay your people. But if you have unemployment or anything else, apply that. That money is seed capital. Like that's not money to go pass through to Amazon or Walmart. That is, let me stack this somewhere and find ways to invest it in ways that can create more capital for me.
And it's funny that you should say that, because the whole reason why we came up with AutoWorkz Insights, I feel the same way. That I've never seen that type of money flowing ever. But then the thing that amazed me, even with the pandemic unemployment, you don't even have to have proof of income.
You don't.
Just apply. I've never seen that before.
Dude, there's literally, but it's also scary, the idea that, like, where's the money coming from, right? Like, and who's going to ultimately fund it?
We are eventually.
Right?
Eventually.
And what's the long-term implication of that?
Well, the American government, we can print money. You know how that works, right? We can print as much.
Kind of. But when we print money, we either devalue our own money or we're borrowing from somebody else to print it.
That's true.
So in either case, it makes things a little bit harder for how things move forward.
That's true. So in innovating, what would be the first step that you would give to people to innovate?
Broken record. So one of the things I've had my clients do, and the ones who've actually done it have literally all emailed, called, text me and said, thank you for this. This made a world of difference. So those, if you got, real quick, I'm gonna ask everybody, if you can't turn your camera on, assuming that you have clothes on. And if you're an entrepreneur, I just want you to raise your hand real quick. If you're an entrepreneur. I see 1, 2, 3. Cool. I'm gonna raise mine too.
Mine too.
So great. So for those of you who I can't see, I'm assuming you raise your hand too, because you're talking to Ida. So I challenge you to call preferably, text secondarily, every single customer you have or have had, and just say, hey, how are you? Do a welfare call on every single person that you've come in contact with, and just do a purely human check-in. Don't try to sell them anything. Now, you may ask them, you have a brief conversation, and they tell you how things are going for them. Say, hey, is there anything that you need help with? You literally say, I'm not trying to sell you anything right now. I just want to know where do you need help? And if I got it if it's in my wheelhouse, or if I know somebody, I'm happy to pass through any resources that could possibly help you. Do that. Take 3 to 5 minutes. It's about a 3 to 5 minute call. If somebody's like, oh my God, I missed you so much, you end up on the phone for 2 hours. But that's not going to happen that often. Everybody who I've had do that has called back and like, Jeff, whoa. I've had folks who made calls, and they weren't doing this for the sake of making money. I was like, yo, right now people need people to be human, because we're struggling with our humanity. Mm-hmm. People have cried. People have said, hey, I owed you money. Let me wire that to you right now.
Yay!
Right? I mean, this has been, like, nobody's had a bad result from this. So it's been, people appreciated it and valued them, and are now the next time they call, they're going to be more likely to open that email and answer the phone. 2, people collected money that they hadn't expected to collect. 3, people got contracts signed that they thought were going to take longer. 4, they end up getting new opportunities because people have just appreciated somebody being human. Now, this only works, though, if it's purely altruistic. You can't do it with the idea of, let me see if I can Trojan horse my way into a deal. But this is the idea of, if I help people, am I guaranteed to make money? No. But if I don't help people, will I make money? No. So what should you always do? Help people.
That's good. Now I'm going to unmute everybody's phone call line. And if you guys have any questions you want to ask Jeff, this is probably the time to do it. You can just jump in and ask the question. Introduce yourself when you jump in, though. At least get on your hand. That will help. Any questions?
I have one. Hi,
hey,
this is Bethany. Great tip on the welfare human check-in. I think that's a great way to position oneself In a sense, instead of thinking of business all the time, I'm thinking about you as a human being here on Earth. And just checking on you, see how you're doing. I think it's a great positioning tactic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you don't have any questions, I'm going to throw out a tip too, because I've been doing that, Jeff. I didn't know that was, I just been doing it because I've been concerned about how people are doing. I actually had a conversation with Wayne Metro, which is a community action agency, right? And they were like, Ida, can you do me a favor? I went, sure. They went, we got $11 million from the federal government and we're trying to give it away as fast as possible. I said, what can it do? They'll pay back mortgages, back rent, they'll pay utilities, they'll pay for services on your house, anything to make your life comfortable while you're in this COVID crisis. So I've been calling people because they're not asking for a whole lot of information and sending the link to say, hey, do you need anything? And I'm gonna tell you, I get this pause first like, huh? No, do you need anything? There's anything that you need during this COVID crisis? And then I send them the link and says, please go and apply. Now, I don't know how many people actually apply, but I've been telling everybody and their brothers that go and apply, even because you don't know what you're gonna get. Because it may be if you get them to pay your mortgage or your rent, then you can save your unemployment money.
Yeah, how you doing? I don't see any, the test, everything was good with the test.
Okay.
We set the modem on the back of the modem with the red button. Hold it down for 20 seconds and then
Now somebody, I don't know who's on that with the modem. Can I mute you?
I need to sync it with the modem.
Yeah, we set the modem. Hold the back of the modem.
Okay, I know how.
Okay. They call me back if you an issue.
Okay then.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
You can mute her.
I thought she was already muted. I don't know who that was. I was already muted. Maybe it was something else. Any other questions?
I wanted to ask a quick question. Would that be okay to do? It sounds like it is something that's okay you can do when you're just like right now people are ordering or buying things online. So would that be a good idea for someone to check in on a person as a recurring customer to see like if they, if they're out of something or not really out of something, but just, are you good with everything? Do you have all what you need? Or just so it doesn't sound like you're trying to, well, you are trying to sell them something, but it's like you're not really trying, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're trying to put all of that in one package. So
do this. Don't put it all in one package. So if there's somebody who's buying from you regularly, like do your welfare call and just say, hey, thank you. Like, I know things are crazy out here and you have continued to support my business. I am so appreciative of you. How are you? Like, don't ask about, do they have everything that they need that you sell? I literally approach it with gratitude and say, I appreciate that despite this craziness of the pandemic, you continue to support me. Is there anything else? And literally say, is there anything else I can do for you? If you just leave it there and allow the conversation to happen, it doesn't mean they're gonna ask you something for free. Like you have no idea where it's gonna go from there. But the fact that they're talking to you is, generally speaking, like if somebody who you buy from, if you have an engagement with them, like any type of interaction, you remember that you buy stuff from them. And so the fact that you're talking is a trigger. So if they need something, they'll let you know, oh yeah, I did need this. Because you're present. That's the natural trigger. But beyond that, just the fact that you checked in on them and did not ask them for a sale, they will be more inclined to give you more money because they trust you now. We give money to people and things that we believe care about us and are going to feed us. And feed us doesn't mean just food. It means like, yo, you're down for me. And so the fact that you're willing to be down for somebody to support them, I absolutely want to give you more money. I have a client right now. He's a relatively large R&B artist, and so he's got this private group of folks who subscribe to really just be a part of this process. Like they get to see him make music, see him hang out with his family. They get to get first listens to music and all that kind of. It's really cool. We ran this survey. We're running a survey now, and I was looking at the responses before this call, and people, and we said, "What do you love about it? What do you hate about it?" And generally speaking, everybody's like, "I love it. I don't hate much of anything." Why did you join? I joined because I love you and I just want to support what you're doing. They felt connected to him because of how he connects with them, how he naturally connects with people. And they in turn wanted to be able to support him further because they felt connected. So you doing that, thank you for continue to be a customer, a client, supporting my business, even when things are crazy and you didn't have to. How you doing? What do you need? How can I help you? That's the stuff that makes people say, I want to support you. I want to support you more. I'm going to look for ways to give you more money. But you can't do it with the idea of more money in mind. Just do it because you're a good person.
Yeah, and then the thing is that, people already know what you're about anyway, if you've ever dealt business with them. So you don't have to talk about business. You just call and say, how are you doing? Or it could be something like my one girlfriend has been getting her master's degree forever. So when we went down for the COVID crisis, I called and said, how's that degree going? Are we getting close to finishing since you don't have to work? She says, no. So I'm in this trimester and I'm going to push the burn, right? So she graduated. So it was about the time of her graduating. So I sent her a note that says, did you pick up your cap and gown? She said, it's virtual. But yes, I have.
Yeah.
Buckle down. Now, I'm not expecting any business from her, and she's not like a best friend, but I've known her for the last 5 or 10 years, maybe 10 years now. And we see each other a couple times a year, and I just felt like calling her because I wanted to see how she was doing. I don't think you need to always sell. I think you just need to care about people.
That's it.
Just care about people. So you call them and just say, how you doing? And they'll tell you if they need something from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Another question. Going to your comment, package what they need inside what they want. I'm working on a ginger beer right now.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
I'll test it.
Okay, great. I'm working on, I have won 2 awards, so it's an award-winning ginger beer. I'm happy to add. What? However, I'm trying to really, one of the hard things I'm trying to get over is the packaging, the bottle.
Yeah.
So everybody's bottles out there is brown, looks like a beer bottle. I said I need to look something different. My friend was telling me, no, keep it like everybody else. What counts is what's inside. I said, true. So what would you say?
Keep going. We're going to address that in a minute. Keep going, though.
Okay, but, that's my main part as far as that packaging of it. I got the name already because it's something that my dad and I used to do together when he was alive. So basically, that's one of my main things, and I'm in the process of getting my story together for my label and working on my logo and stuff like that. But it's just that bottling piece. Getting me stuck a little bit.
So let's have a little fun with this. Okay. So I've got this. It's funny. So I'm working on this framework right now of helping people figure out how to sell better. Okay. And it's tentatively called the AIM framework. Because there are 3 sales that you have to make before somebody actually pays for something, right? Okay. The first sale is attention. Like, I need to get your attention. And I'm going to talk about, sales is basically dating. If you out there, you trying to, you see somebody you like, so the perfect person for you is out there. But if you may come across them, but if they're dressed like I am right now with a decent t-shirt up top, but some sweatpants on down below, you're like, So how they're packaged before you actually have an engagement with them buys your attention. So your packaging buys the attention. The second sale is the interest. All right, I got your attention. I have your attention. We have an initial touch point. Now I got to buy your interest, which is where we start exchanging information. You're like, oh, that's interesting. And then lastly is, all right, I've got your attention. We good there. I've got your interest. And in this interest conversation, we're really establishing we're establishing value. So it's like, oh, he's well put together. Oh, he's smart. He might even have a little bit of money. He plays saxophone. All right. So all of that, you say, I think I want to spend some more time with you. At this point, I'm willing to invest. Keyword invest. So now we go attention, interest, and now money, because money is the investment. So your product, your packaging buys the attention. Now, what's interesting about it is packaging really is less about your product and completely about your target market.
Okay.
I was talking to a brewer actually about 3 or 4 weeks ago, right when just navigating the PPP loan stuff. And as we're having the conversation, I did a little bit of research. Like, so as a woman, as an African-American woman, there are very, very few Black women who are brewing.
That's true.
It's a really, really finite community. Y'all probably all know each other because 3 of you.
Right. Oh, on one hand.
Yeah. So
One in Detroit too.
and oh man, that means you're the only one. You're probably not the only one, but the idea is you're a woman who's making a beer, and not just beer, ginger beer, and so ginger beer, which can taste amazing by itself, but also is great as a mixer for other things.
Yeah.
And so who you're targeting and how you're positioning should influence your packaging. Example, if your ginger beer is designed to just be, hey, if you like ginger beer, drink it, fine, then you can go ahead and be closer to line with what a person who drinks ginger beer is looking for. Like, I'm not going to deviate that far away, because if I don't look familiar, they're not going to trust it.
Okay.
But on the other side, if I say I'm making a ginger beer that's designed for women who appreciate drinking mules of different types, then I'm going to make my packaging more friendly to a woman who probably doesn't want to see the standard brown glass bottle. Or if they do, maybe my label is a different color that's going to be a bit more friendly and speaks less to the idea of delicious ginger beer, but to be an amazing mixing ginger beer.
Okay.
So in your case, again, it comes back to know your customer.
Okay.
And it's funny you should say that, because those Seagram escapes,
Yeah, dude,
I didn't realize those are beer.
it's beer, but they
I
package it exactly right.
I argued with somebody, I don't drink beer. And they were like, yes, you do. I went, no, I don't. They went, yes, you do. I went, no, I don't. And they pulled the bottle and says, this is beer. I went, no, this is a cocktail.
Exactly. And so that positioning matters. Now, with that being said, it's funny because the Seagrams, even though it's a cocktail, it's still in a beer type bottle, right?
No, actually, it's not a cocktail.
Wait.
It technically is a beer.
Well, meaning when I say it's a cocktail, it's because you call it a cocktail.
Right.
And I don't say that because you said it, but because that's how it's positioned in your mind.
Right.
So, beer bottle, cocktail association.
Right.
By a beer manufacturer, such that I can now we start getting into like production processes and streamlining operations and stuff. But point being is how you basically who your target is going to dictate how you position.
That's good. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. This is Patricia.
Hey,
Okay.
it's so good to hear you again, Patricia.
Hi. I wanted to know what, say, publications or websites you use or go to maybe if you're running out of ideas or need to keep up with what's going on.
Yeah.
Which one do you use to kind of prime your mental pump?
So, to being honest, I don't use a ton of outside websites and stimuli.
Okay.
And I don't say that as a badge of honor, because you definitely learn a lot by checking out what else is happening in the world. Sites that are cool to check out though, Fast Company, Mashable, Ink is decent. There's one I do have saved. I'm gonna find it in a minute. I'm checking right now. What else? TechCrunch. Thank you. TechCrunch is another cool one. And it also depends on what you're looking for. What I often do is I engage other things, like completely different. So example, if I'm having a business slump, this is gonna sound crazy. I put on Turn Down for What by DJ Snake and Lil Jon.
Motivation.
It is literally my creative fuel. Now that in mind, I also put on my first album for me. I made it so that I can work along with it, or other folks that work along with it. So I might put on that too, and that kind of for me triggers some other things. If I'm looking for outside stimuli, I might just call somebody and just have a random conversation, like just see where it goes. And in those conversations, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll hear something. The biggest thing is understanding what triggers creativity for you. So to kind of even bring things full circle. So innovation is really creativity applied to strategy. It's strategic creativity. So whatever triggers your creativity, it could be food, it could be running, anything, whatever it is, you have to know what it is for you and just go do that. Now, outside of there, also a lot of other tactics that you can apply. So, example, like I mentioned earlier, the bear. What happens when we made a bear with a tiger? So, let's make a baby game, which is when you take completely disparate things and see what can I get when I put them together. So there are lots. If you just look up innovation exercises, you'll see a bunch of things that you can do. You'll see a bunch of things that you can do that don't take a lot of time, but will just trigger some different thinking.
And then I'm going to get that there's a lot of research out there that play stimulates innovation.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So I am like a video gaming cartoon fanatic. And I didn't realize how much I was a cartoon fanatic until I wanted to go see a particular cartoon. And my significant other says,
"Get out of here.
Over 50? What kid are you taking?" I says, "I'm not. I'm taking myself." Because it stimulates my creativity. Because cartoons are very creative.
I love it. It's funny you say that. So I'll tell you what. I get some of my best ideas in the shower. Like, it's important that I take a shower every day, because if I don't, I'm going to miss out on some ideas.
It's the sound of the running water.
No, I think it's just me washing up all the dirt. I can be free again.
So then I'll get the two of you guys together and connect. So why don't you guys do me a favor? If you all could go on and put all of your emails again in the chat, and then I can just give those to Jeff. Any other questions? Because we have kind of crossed over our 1 o'clock hour. I'll try to keep it concise. Last one thing I would like to do is I have a poll or a survey that I want people just to complete. It's only 3 questions about this session. So it just populated in your system. So if you can just check the box and send it back over. Secondly, I like to talk about what we're having next week. We're actually we keep talking about innovation, reflection. But next week, we're going to talk about legacy. Legacy begins in the mind. Because I believe that this is an opportunity whenever you have crises that you think about where are you going next and how far are you going to extend yourself and how much your legacy is going to be. And when you think about it, then you know how to begin to plan for it. So we'd like to see you next week at 12 noon, as we're going to be having a conversation with Brian Bullock. He wrote a book called Living a Legacy, and I hear he's quite awesome. And so we're going to experience his legacy begins in the mind next week at 12 noon.